All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. You shouldn't really need props today. If you have a block or two yoga blocks that are handy, you can use those, or if something, kind of equivalent to a block, or a blanket, or pillow would be helpful. We're gonna start laying on our backs today. So I'm hoping I had some issues with my camera last week, so bear with me. I'm hoping that it works a little bit better today and you can see me and hear me. Okay, so I'm still getting the hang of this. So go ahead and start on your back, however you're comfortable. Go ahead and come down and, like I said, pillow your head if that's more comfortable for you. We're just going to start with breathing on our backs. So bring your feet a little wider than hip distance apart to start and keep your knees bent. So we're gonna rest your knees on each other, and then just kind of bring your hands to your low belly here. Start to connect to your breath a little bit. Anything that you were doing before this or thinking about doing after this, try to leave that at the door and just come into the room. Allow yourself this time to just be in this moment, in this practice. So just begin to, deepen your breath. You don't have to manipulate it too much. Just noticing the breath. If, it's smooth today, if it's a little choppy. Notice if you're only breathing into your chest. Try to extend the breath all the way into the belly. So opening up that balloon in the belly, expanding as you inhale, emptying and softening as you exhale. Just really beginning to pay attention to your breath. Use the floor as a point of contact as well. So while you're inhaling, feel the expanding of your rib cage against the floor, giving you that extra input to show you where that breath needs to go. Maybe think about the areas of tension in your body that could use a little attention today, a little help, a little breath. Just 5 more breaths right here with your hands on your belly. Okay, and at the end of your last exhale here, bring your hands to the floor next to you, and you can just separate your knees, maybe bring your feet in to hips distance apart. Keep your knees bent for now. And bringing your hands flat to the floor, just inhale the right hand up so the fingertips are pointing up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, bring the hand above the head so the back of the hand is on the floor here. Just feel the length in the side here, the shoulders, giving your shoulders a little bit of love. Inhale the hand up, exhale back down, and then we'll repeat to the left side. So inhale the hand up, exhale the hand to the back of the floor, or the back of the hand to the floor. Just gentle movement here, nice and slow. Inhale the hand up, exhale to the floor. We'll repeat on both sides one more time. Inhale up, exhale to the floor. Inhale up, exhale back down, and to the left left side. Inhale the hand up. Exhale to the floor. Inhale back up. Exhale. And then we're going to do both hands together. So inhale up. Exhale to the back of to behind your head. Inhale the hands back up. And then cross the hands over to the opposite elbows. So you're crossing at the forearms here. Inhale and exhale the arms to the right. So crossing the left arm over the chest here, lowering both arms to the right. Feeling an opening in the left shoulder, left side. Inhale back up over the chest and then exhale to the left with both arms. Inhale back to center. And this time we're going to exhale the arms above the head or to the forehead, whatever's most comfortable for you. So if you have stiff shoulders or neck or shoulder issues at all, just leave your arms right at the forehead. Otherwise, if you want to go a little further, you can go to the crown of the head or even behind the head, whatever's best for you in this moment. Just really stretching out those shoulder blades, the side waist and the ribs. Breathing into any areas that feel a little sticky this morning, or I guess afternoon. Inhale the arms back up above the chest, and then open the hands up and reverse, or I guess switch arms. So the other forearm is in front, and your hands are holding on to opposite elbows again. So inhale and exhale the arms to the right, repeating all those same motions, but with the opposite arm in front this time. Inhale back up, and then exhale to the left. Inhale back up, and then exhaling either to the forehead or to the crown of the head. Again, whatever feels best for you. And it might be different this time. You might feel a different sensation. Keep breathing. Inhale the arms back up and release back down to the sides. Let's bring the legs straight out so the feet are nice and flexed here. And we're just going to do a nice full body stretch. So bringing the hands above the head, flexing the hands and the feet, just nice and stretched here. Try to lengthen that belly, lengthen your waist. Really feel that stretch. And then release, relaxing the arms a little bit and then relaxing the legs. The next thing we're going to do is kind of walking the feet towards the right side. So creating a curve here with your legs. So feeling a pull on the left hip here, but trying to keep that left hip against the floor as best you can. And then we're walking the arms as well to the right. So we're creating a C shape here, and this is sometimes people call this banana pose. So if you can picture what a banana looks like if it were laying on the floor in a nice curve, that's how we want to be doing what we want to be doing with our body. So you're reaching with the left hand here above your head, and you're reaching with the left foot here as well. Trying not to collapse on the right here, but keeping that space that we've created by doing that full body stretch. Keep breathing. And on your next inhale, bring your body back to center, and then repeat to the left side. So walking the feet over to the left, walking the hands over to the left as well, creating a nice curve here in the shape of a C. And again, not collapsing on that left side, but maintaining that length that we created in our full body stretch. So really reaching with the right hand here, really reaching with the right foot. And inhale back to center. Bring the hands back down to the sides. Bend the knees again and bring the right knee into the chest and just hug that knee in. Maybe if it's comfortable, extend that left foot forward. So flexing that foot, pushing the heel away from the body. Stretching out the hamstrings and the glutes here. Then take the left or the right knee into the left hand and just bring it just slightly over the midline here, not very far, keeping that right hip still on the floor. And then release. Lower that foot back to the floor, bend the left knee into the chest, hug that left knee in. And then if it's comfortable, straightening that right leg, pushing out with the right heel, stretching through that left glute this time. And then taking the left leg into the right hand, bringing it over the midline, just 6 to 12 inches here. Not very far. And then inhale back up, release the leg back down. And we're just going to roll to the right side, or whichever side is more comfortable, really. And slowly make our way up to seated. So don't pop up too fast. You don't want to get a head rush from coming up too fast. So if it's comfortable to sit with your legs crossed like this, that's great. If it's more comfortable to have them out in front of you or even just slightly bent in front of you, whatever is best for you right now is fine. And just kind of feeling the weight of your hips and your sit bones on the ground. Checking in just like we did when we were on our backs. Letting the blood come back into our bodies from laying down for so long. We're just going to do a couple warm-ups in seated, just like we did last week if you were with me last week. So bring the hands to the sides of you, and starting with the left hand, left palm facing up, and then inhale the hand up, reaching up to the sky, pointing those fingertips straight up to the sky, and then bringing the right hand out to the side, and just reaching towards the right with your left hand, dropping that right shoulder away from the ear. Just really feeling that length. Inhale back up and release that hand, and then repeat to the right. So inhaling up towards the ceiling, reaching with the right hand, and then walking that left hand out, dropping the left shoulder and reaching with the right hand towards the left. Lengthening, keeping that right hip on the floor though. Inhale and exhale. Inhale back up. Release both hands to the floor. And then this time we're going to walk our hands out in front of us. So folding forward over your legs. So even if your legs are long, however far is comfortable for you, don't worry if you're not getting very far in front. Just a forward fold like we do when we're in standing as well. Keep breathing. And you may feel this in your hamstrings, in your hips, in your low back. Feeling the length. And inhale, walk the hands back up. Lean back slightly and untuck and then retuck the legs so the other leg is in front, and then repeat walking forward with your hands. Inhale back up, and then we're going to come into hands and knees in table pose. And if you're like me, your mat moves when you're on the carpet, so excuse me while I adjust here. Okay, so in table pose, you want your hands to be directly under your shoulders, and you want your knees to be directly under your hips. So you're in a nice 90-degree angle here, kind of like a box. Your feet should be directly behind your knees, and your palms should be nice and open, fingertips nice and wide, spread out. As you settle in, so inhaling, dropping the chest towards the floor, and bringing your chin just slightly forward. Exhale, arching the back into cat pose, separating the shoulder blades, pushing the floor away from you with your hands. And then inhaling, melting the chest towards the floor, lifting the back of the tailbone. Exhale, dropping the tailbone back down, arching the back. Just a couple more here. So inhale, melting the chest. Exhale, emptying the belly. Inhale. And exhale. Okay, so come back to neutral here. And then just kind of walking your hands just slightly in front of your shoulders. We're just bringing, you can tuck your toes here as well, actually. And we're just bringing your hips back into a diagonal here, kind of like in downward dog, but not all the way up in downward dog. So this is what's considered a half dog pose. So you're just bringing your hips back towards your feet, but not fully to your heels. So just lengthening the arms here. Feeling a nice stretch in the back of your shoulders and your waist. Just warming the body up for the first downward dog. And feel free to return to the half dog pose at any time if it's better for you than the full downward dog. This might be more comfortable for you, which is great. Always listen to your body and what's best for that moment. Okay, so coming forward again, we're just going to bring our big toes to touch and then bring the hips back to the heels in a nice child's pose here. Head towards the floor to the floor. Or if you have a block, you can always put a block underneath your forehead as well, whatever's best for you. And also, if it works better to widen your knees, that's great to give yourself a little more space. The child's pose is a great resting pose. You can come to this at any point during your practice or just during your day. This is a nice reset for the nervous system at any point. And when you're ready, make your way back up to hands and knees. We're going to come into our first downward dog. So hands in front of the shoulders again, just 1 or 2 hand lengths in front. And then tucking the toes back under, releasing the hips up towards the ceiling, keeping the knees bent for that first downward dog. We're still warming up. So bringing the hips up towards the ceiling, melting the chest towards the thighs here. Feeling the length and stability in your arms. Reaching with your hands, reaching with your heels. Maybe if it's comfortable, you can pedal out your feet a little bit to try to lengthen the legs here. And then come to stillness. All right, and when you're ready, we're gonna walk or step forward to standing forward bend. So if your legs don't come all the way forward, feel free to use your hands to help. Bring them all the way up to your hands. And fold forward here, releasing the head towards the floor. Hands towards the floor. Knees can be bent here. I always keep my knees bent in standing forward bend. This just allows you to really relax into the pose. So you're just really relaxing your whole upper body into a fold. Release any tension or worries, anything that you're holding on to that you really don't need right now. Let that drain out of the top of your head and your fingertips into the floor. And we're going to slowly roll up to mountain pose now. So allowing the head to arrive last. Again, we don't want to jump up too hard. So with your mountain pose, you want to, I'm just going to turn this way. I'm having another issue with my camera here. All right, so with your mountain pose, you want to find a happy medium with your feet. So your feet are hips distance apart, and I always kind of rock back and forth from my toes to my heels, just to kind of find that midpoint in my feet. So once you find that, come to stillness, and then just really focus on feeling the energy of the outer leg line pushing down, the inner leg line pulling up. Balancing the pelvis, bringing the navel to the spine, rolling the shoulders back and open, bringing the fingertips pointing towards the floor, creating space at the back of the skull. Feeling that strength and stability of a mountain. Inhale, we're going to bring the the palms away from the body and up and over the head. Palms touch above the head. Exhale the palms or the fingers to your chest. Inhale the hands back up the body. Exhale the hands to the sides and forward fold again. Guess I'll turn this way. Standing forward bend again, so you may feel like you don't have to have a bend in your knee this time. That's great. Or you may want to have a bend in your knee still. Inhale, halfway up, so we're creating a flat back here, pointing up the top of the head, hands to the shins or to the thighs, whatever's easier for you. And then exhaling the hands back down into forward fold. And then stepping the feet back into downward dog. Keep breathing here in downward dog. And then coming into your plank, maybe bring your knees down for your plank, your first plank here. So bringing your hips slightly forward, and then we're gonna lower down to the belly. So if it's easier for you, or if it's better for you to lower your elbows first, whatever makes the most sense for you. Maybe you wanna bring knees, chest, and chin down, and then lower the hips. Point the toes. Bring your hands to the sides of your ribs here, and then we're just coming up into low cobra. So just the chest and the shoulders lifting, and then releasing back to the floor, pushing back up to hands and knees. And then back up to downward dog. Walk your feet forward. Standing forward bend. So again, releasing the head down, releasing the shoulders, bringing the belly towards the thighs. Maybe you want to hold on to opposite elbows again like we were doing in laying down. And just kind of releasing the tension in the low back, maybe rocking back and forth. And then when you're ready, release the hands back down if you were holding your elbows. Bring your hands to your hips and rise up to mountain pose again. Inhale the hands up, palms touch. Exhale the hands to the chest. Take a deep breath. And then release the hands back down to standing forward bend. And so this is where you can use your blocks if you have some handy. If you don't, that's perfectly okay. We're going to come into a low lunge here. So bringing the left foot behind you first. The right knee is bent. If you have blocks, you can put those right under your shoulders. If you don't, you can also just bring your fingertips to the floor right next to your feet. And then release that left knee to the floor, untuck the toes, and then bring your hands to your right knee here. So we're not bringing the right knee over the toes here, we're just keeping it right, just a little bit forward of the ankle, just allowing this left hip to really stretch. And then coming back to the left knee, we're going to release the hands and lift all the way up. If this is comfortable for you to just stay here, that's perfectly fine. If not, you can go a little further and just bring the hands above you for a balance pose. Find a point that can be helpful to focus on in order to keep your balance. And lifting up, maybe gazing upward if it's comfortable. And then bring the gaze back forward, release the hands back down, and tuck the toes again, lift the left knee up, and then bring the right foot back to meet the left, come back into standing or downward facing dog. Take just 2 breaths here. And then repeat on the other side. So bring the left foot, we'll bring that right back up with the feet, with the hands. Sorry. And then release that right knee to the floor. And again, bring the hands to that front knee and allow that right leg to really, that right hip to really stretch out here. So breathing. And then coming back to that right knee just slightly, releasing the hands and lifting up here. Fingertips facing the ceiling. Maybe gazing upward if it's comfortable. Bringing the gaze back forward. Hands back to the sides of the foot. Tuck the toes, lift back up, and then bring the left foot back. Standing forward, or I keep doing that, downward facing dog. And from here, we'll come back into a plank. So you can do a full plank if you want. Feel free to lower your knees if that's more comfortable for you. And then make your way back down to your belly. Untuck the toes, point the toes. And then come back into low cobra. So just the shoulders and the chest here. Release back to the floor. This time we're going to bring the hands just in front of you. And this is called Sphinx pose. So the elbows are right under the shoulders. The palms are in front of you, flat on the floor. Lifting at the navel, all the way through the chest and the shoulders. And then from here, if it's comfortable for you, you can go a little further and gaze over the right shoulder towards the right ankle. And then back to center. Inhale, exhale, gazing over the left shoulder towards the left ankle. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, back down to the floor. And then pillow the hands. We did this last week too, if you were with me last week. So keeping the hands right in front of the face, you can just lower your forehead down to the floor. And just breathe here for just a few breaths. Really focusing on breathing into the belly this week. So paying attention to whether or not we're giving our breath the full range of coming into the belly and into the rib cage. So allowing the floor to be that point of contact again, like we were on our backs. Filling the belly with the inhale, softening and emptying with the exhale. And when you're ready, bring your hands back to your sides and try to lift your whole upper body up to all fours together. And then back up to downward facing dog when you're ready. Walk the feet forward to the hands, standing forward bend. Maybe shake your head no here. Nod your head yes. Again, just letting any tension drain out of the top of your head here. So before we come all the way up to standing, we're just going to deepen the bend in our knees here. So keeping the knees directly over the ankles. And we're going to just sink the hips a little bit closer to the floor. So thighs are running parallel to the ground as best we can. Just continuing to feel the sinking of our hips down towards the floor. And if this is comfortable for you to just stay here, that's perfectly fine. So keep your hands to your hips. If you want to go further, you can bring your hands in front of you and come into powerful pose here. So feel the strength and stability of powerful pose. Sometimes it's called chair pose, but I think it's better to say powerful pose because this is a lot of power in our legs. Inhale and straighten, hands out to the sides. Forward fold again. Inhale, half up. Exhale, fold. Inhale and bring the hands all the way up above the head. Palms touch. Prayer hands to the chest. All right, so when you're ready, step to face the long edge of your mat. So bringing the legs nice and wide here, so about 3 feet or so. Sometimes we can just put your hands out, and if you can bring your ankles directly under your wrists, that's a good point of reference here. And then pivot the right foot so the toes are facing towards the short edge of the mat here. The heels are in line with each other. We're going to go into warrior two. So bending that front leg and bringing the hands up parallel to the floor. So looking over the right fingers. This is warrior two, so you also want to focus on keeping the hips in line as best you can with the long edge of the mat here. And then bring the left hand to the left thigh, right hand overhead, reverse warrior. Inhale, exhale, bring the hands back to warrior two. Bend that right arm and bring the forearm to the right thigh. And then left hand goes all the way up and overhead. Inhale and exhale here. Inhale, bring that hand up, back to warrior two. Straighten that that right leg, hands to the hips. And then bring the feet back to parallel. We'll repeat on the other side. So in this case, my left foot. So bring the left toes facing the long edge or the short edge of the mat here. And then bending that left knee. Again, keeping those hips as square as you can towards the long edge of the mat. And then float those arms up parallel to the ground. Looking over the left fingers. And then reverse warrior. So right hand to the right thigh, left hand overhead. And then back to warrior two. Looking over the left fingertips. And bend that left arm, left forearm to the right, to the left knee. Right arm sweeps up and over the ear here. Inhale the arm back up. Warrior two. Reverse warrior again. And then hands to the hips. Straighten that left leg. And before we walk our feet in, we're just going to do a forward fold in our wide angle stance here. So slowly folding over, bringing your hands gently to the floor. So feel it out, decide what's most comfortable for you in terms of where your hands can be. You can bring them in line with your feet if that's comfortable. If not, they can be slightly in front of your feet. But release that head just like in standing forward bend when our feet are together. Release that head down towards the floor. Feel the length in the back of the neck here. And again, if it's comfortable, walk your hands so they're parallel in line with your feet. And then release the right knee and bend slightly so you can feel the stretch in your left leg here. Keeping your hands where they are. Inhale back up, exhale and release the left knee. So bending the left knee here. Inhale back up. Both legs straight. Walk the hands just slightly in front of you so that you can create a flat back here. Maybe coming up on your fingertips here so that your back is nice and straight. And then fold one more time. And on your next inhale, bring your hands to your hips and slowly rise yourself up. And then walk the heels and toes back in. Sorry, my mat keeps shifting. So back into our mountain pose. Bring your hands all the way up, reaching your fingertips towards the ceiling. Upward hand pose. Palms touch. Bring your hands to your heart and breathe. Check in with your body. Notice how it feels after that sequence. Notice that your heart might be beating a little harder. Your breath might be a little bit more ragged. Try to smooth that breath back out. Deep inhale. Slow exhale. All right, open your eyes and release your hands. And we're not going to do it any very fancy, but we're just going to come down into seated here. So folding over your legs a little and just kind of coming into a seat. So bend the left knee like we're going into a seated position, but keeping your right leg bent so your foot is flat against the floor. And then hopefully, I don't know if you can see me well here, but keeping the left leg behind the right foot here. So we're just going to do a slight twist. So holding on to the front of the right leg, lift your body so that your chest is open, your head and chin are lifted, keeping that nice length in your back. And continuing to hold on to that, bring your left hand to your right knee, circle the right hand behind you. So we're coming into a slight twist here. So we're not really pulling on the right knee, we're just using our hand to guide the navel, guide the shoulders, guide the body to the right. So inhale and lengthening the spine, exhale and softening into the twist even more. And then come back out of it. So release the right leg. You can straighten the right leg out, maybe shake out both legs, and then bend the right leg so that the foot is directly behind the left foot. So the left foot is on the ground, the left knee is bent, the right knee is on the ground here. And again, just lengthening the spine, so feeling yourself opening up the chest here, holding on to that left leg, repeating the same actions as the other side. Inhale and exhale, and then holding on with the right hand this time. Circling the left hand behind you and coming into a twist. So maintaining that lift in the chest, maintaining the length in the spine. Inhale and lengthen, exhale and soften into the twist. Good, and unwind there and release. And we're going to make our way down to our backs again. So keeping the feet flat on the floor here, knees are bent, and we're just going to slowly lower down to the floor. If you want to hold on to your knees here, if it's easier for you, and we're just lowering down kind of one vertebra at a time. So if it's comfortable for you, you can release your hands and lower down that way. Or if you want to hold behind the knees, that's fine too, or behind the thighs here. So just coming down and onto your back again. Just take a moment to settle into the floor. Reconnect to your breath again. We do that a lot in yoga. We realize the importance of our breathing and how much we sort of forget about it in our daily life. We kind of just take our breathing for granted. So this is an opportunity to really hone into your breathing and focus on giving your body that extra oxygen that it needs throughout the day. So bring your right ankle to your left knee. We're going to go into a figure 4, so just hugging the left knee towards the chest. Stretching out the back of the right hip here, the glute, the thigh. Breathing into any tension. And then release the left foot back down to the floor. And before we take our right ankle off, we're just going to lower both legs towards the left. So the left knee goes towards the floor, the right foot is resting on the floor here. So again, another gentle twist. Two breaths here. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Bring the legs back up. Release the right foot back down. And then change sides so that left ankle is on the right knee. And then hug the right knee into the chest. And again, like we said at the beginning, one side might feel different than the other side. One side might be more tight. One side might be a little painful or a little sticky. We're not judging, we're just noticing. And always giving breath to the parts that feel a little more tense. And release the right foot to the floor, and then again, bring those legs over to the right. So the right knee is on the ground, and the left foot is on the ground. So the ankle is still crossed over. Inhale back up and release the left foot. Bring the knees to the chest, hug them in. Maybe separate the knees here and bring the knees towards the armpits. And then we're just going to start to make some circles with our knees. Just lubricating the hips here. So you can do circles away from each other and then reverse the circles. So we're kind of going towards each other. Hug the knees in towards the chest and just rock back and forth here. Massaging out the low back. And then just do some gentle circles with your knees together. Good. And then just release the feet. We're going to go into Shavasana now. So whatever's most comfortable for you for the ending rest pose. Shavasana is an opportunity to just allow our bodies to feel the fruits of the practice that we just did. So just giving ourselves the time to rest. A lot of people consider Shavasana to be the most important pose of the whole practice. So this is our opportunity to just release all of the tension in our bodies. One last time. Often we call this corpse pose. So if you can imagine a pose that is just total rest, total relaxation. So as you begin to settle in, whatever position is most comfortable for you, just begin to feel the tension melt from your body. Release the tops of your feet, the arches, your toes, your heels and ankles. Release your calves and your shins. Release your knees and your kneecaps. Release your thighs. Feel the hips melt into the earth. Release the pelvis and the low back, the ribs, the shoulder blades. Release the upper arm bones, the elbows, the wrists. Release the hands and all the fingertips. Release the palms. Make your way back up to your shoulders and really feel the tension in the shoulders melt away. This is a very common place for us to hold our tension. Try to really imagine just the skin on your shoulders, the muscles, everything just sort of melting into the floor as you lay there. Release the neck and the jaw, the tongue and the soft palate. Release any of the tension that we're holding. Release the ears, the temples, the eyes to the back of their sockets. Release the forehead. Release the skull and the skin on the top of the head into the floor. Just allow yourself to drift and totally release. So spend this time imagining yourself on the side of a river, and the water in the river is continually moving, so the water never stops moving. There may be big rocks in the middle of the water, there may be sticks and logs, any kind of animals. There's all kinds of things in the river, in the way of the water. but the water continues to move around those things. So imagine that the thoughts that come into your head at any given time can be moving just as much as the river is moving. It's not our job to stop the thoughts or to block the things that come into our heads. But what we can do is we can just allow them to keep going. As quickly as they come into our heads, they can drop right into that river and keep going. We don't have to give them weight. So while you're laying here, just imagine that the thoughts are just continuing to flow with the river. Slowly make your way back into the room. As you tuck those thoughts away into the river, begin to deepen your breath again. Reconnect. Maybe wiggle your fingers and toes. Bring the sensation back into your body. And when you're ready, you can bend your knees. Maybe roll over to one side that's most comfortable. Take a couple breaths on your side. As you're ready, make your way back up to seated slowly. Try to keep your head and neck nice and soft, allowing your head to come up last. Bring your hands to your sides, palms facing up. Inhale the hands all the way up towards the ceiling. Bring your palms to touch, prayer hands to your chest. Lift the sternum towards the thumbs. Imagining that there's light coming from your heart, sending that out into the universe. Lower your head to meet your heart. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. Thank you. See you guys next week.